Shalom Mishpacha, summer is ending and Rosh HaShanah is just around the corner, which means it's time for cooking inspo. We are going to make challah and babka for the high holidays as well as for Shabbat. I did a lot of batch baking during the summer and I'm showing you 4 simple braiding techniques. We're also going to make European apple pie for Rosh HaShanah and stick that in the freezer, and of course our beloved ADEENA SUSSMAN recipes. Some of these I've made before, but they're very much worth your while, so come along for the ride. Alright, braiding technique number 1 is this very simple 4-stranded challah where you make like a hashtag sign and then going one way one round and the other way another round, you tuck the braids underneath, and it is really that simple and it creates a beautiful shape. So that is challah braiding technique number 1 for you. If you want to go even simpler, then prepare 3 strands and weave one over under over and then braid both sides like you would a 3-strand challah and tuck underneath, and Bub is your uncle. This is so simple, and for beginning braiders this is a really great way to still get that nice full and pretty round challah look. So here we go. That is technique number 2 for you. Technique number 3, which I'm showing here, is more elaborate. You need double the amount of strands, so 8 strands, and as you can see I am rolling them out and getting them ready. And then what you're going to do is get some sesame seeds or poppy seeds, whatever is your preference, and dampen a paper towel. And on that paper towel, that wet paper towel, you are going to put your challah braids that you want to coat in your seeds. And what happens is that they coat evenly around, and it's more effective than if you would do it with egg wash. So you make sure that your braids are coated. I'm doing half of my braids coated with sesame seeds and the half not. And then you are going to repeat pattern number 1 essentially, but double up each strand. It gets a little bit more confusing, but it turns out really pretty. So watch as I coat my strands here, and then I'm going to lay them out again in that hashtag pattern, but alternating the covered strand and the uncovered strand as you see here. Tucking them in can be a little bit tricky, so make sure that you space it right, but it does work quite beautifully, and this creates this beautiful checkered pattern on the challah. So follow along as you see me braid and weave them over under here until I am set to tuck in those braids. Again, like challah pattern number 1, go clockwise one way, anti-clockwise the other way, as long as each circle is counter to the previous circle, and then tuck them under. And this will give you a really beautiful challah that also tastes delicious because of the seeds. We are going to make sure that this little guy rises, and then on to our 4th technique, and this really is the simplest. You basically make a very long braid and cut that into 2 halves and coil them around each other like that. It is really that simple. So if you are pretty much a beginner at challah braiding, this is how you do it, and then you just twist it and twist it and twist it on itself. And look at that, isn't that pretty? It looks so much more elaborate than it is. Let these guys sit, and this is the result. I'm so proud. I also threw in some babka. A lot of these are for the freezer for Rosh HaShanah. I know that this will give me stress-free holidays by doing this now. I basted them with egg wash, of course, for that beautiful golden color, and here is the fruit of my labor. Time for European apple pie. This really is a special occasion pie because it is a lot of work. You make the pie dough according to the recipe, which I will share, of course, and you make sure that you have a very supportive spouse who slices, dices, and peels all of the apple slices. You roll the dough out like this. Make sure that it is a little cool so that it doesn't stick too much. And then with your pan, you cut out the circle, and that becomes your base layer. you tuck that into your pan and flatten it out and make sure that it is evenly distributed, and you make the siding like so. Once that is done, you will fill it with your apple slice filling, which has been dusted in sugar and cinnamon and a little bit of lemon juice, and I tossed in some raisins for good measure, and it is very, very nostalgic for me. This is a pie that I grew up eating as a kid, so this is nostalgia in a pan for me. And then after you've done that, you make the lattice work. So you have to set aside about a third of the dough and roll it out very, very thin into these little ropes. And then you place the ropes over the pie and weave them in and out for a nice aesthetic look, and then you baste it with egg wash and bake it as instructed. So look at that, it turns out really, really pretty, and it is a hefty, substantive pie that is very filling and very old school and old fashioned. So enjoy these. I'm always really proud how these come out because they're just so beautiful and vintage. Enjoy. If you want to take it up a notch, you can even baste the bottom of the pie with some apricot jam or marmalade, and they freeze really well. Time to set the table, and let me tell you about these kiddish cups. Each of these belong to my 3 children. They were gifts from dear friends and play into a fantasy theme, and they love having their own designated kiddish cup at the table. As you can see, here's just a very simple tablescape, and now let's start cooking the main menu from ADEENA's book. Here is what we're making: challah, mock chopped liver, tomato jam, feta, artichoke dip, Moroccan carrot salad, sweet and tart eggplant salad, sweet potatoes with miso butter, poached salmon with zucchini salad. I did not make one of the items on the menu, which I did not read out because I'm always like a little bit too ambitious, but I'm going to fortify myself with a cup of tea and let's get cracking because this is a lot of cooking. Poached salmon and chopped liver, which is a vegetarian dish. This is a dairy meal, come first. And this mock chopped liver is so good. It's essentially green or brown lentils and these pecans. You soak them in water beforehand to soften them up, plus eggs, plus sauteed onions and sauteed mushrooms, and this combination turns out so meaty. Yes, I boil my lentils and eggs together. It's just easier that way. Why not? So here I am dicing that onion, which I'm going to caramelize and then throw in those mushrooms. And it is a really simple recipe and it lasts a good long time. It freezes very well as well. And together with the jam, it is so good. That spicy tomato jam and the earthiness of the mock chopped liver pair really well together. I love the smell of caramelized onions, and here I am chopping away. You know, friends, there are so many cooking channels out there on the internet, and Jewish cooking channels too, and my channel is lo-fi. It is just very simple. It is this silly little tripod that I have and my iPhone, and that is how I get the job done. And I've been reflecting a little bit on why I keep my channel lo-fi. Well, first of all, I am a full-time rabbi and I'm a mom of 3. I don't have the time or the motivation really to invest into a super professional setup, because at the end of the day I am not an influencer. But I love the simplicity and authenticity of my channel. It will always be just as it is, no frills, no pretense, just completely me. And you know what? I'm totally okay with that. Okay, on to the next recipe, the spicy tomato jam. I've made this before. I've made the chopped liver before too. So I do refer you back to the playlist with my cooking videos if you want to see a different version of it. But basically, the most complicated part of this recipe is not necessarily chopping up those tomatoes, it's combining the spices into the baharat spice mix, which ADEENA talks you through in the recipe. You do need a fair amount of kind of Middle Eastern spices, but once you've kind of messed about with the ratios a bit, as you can see, it is very simple. This artichoke feta green pea dip is so great. This is a new one, and it allows you to hit your protein goals too. So all you need is frozen peas, feta, and artichoke, the stuff that you get store-bought from the jar. You combine them and you mash them up, and it is a really refreshing dip served with mint. Here is my poached salmon with those thinly sliced slivers of zucchini with sumac and dressing. The sumac really makes this dish very unique. Again, see my playlist for that recipe as well. I've done it before. Here, this is an incomplete video, but I'm making my eggplant salad, which is also from ADEENA's book, and see another playlist video for the complete recipe for that. Here is the final result. My friends also brought delicious salad and croutons, and we had a feast together. Here is that chopped liver looking very delicious, and the poached salmon on a bed of that zucchini. Those are the croutons. Those sweet potatoes were very simple to make. You basically roast them and combine miso paste and butter, and you have a great dish. My kids really love the sweet potato with the miso butter, so that was a great recipe as well. And here is that tangy, spicy eggplant salad. Friends, this concludes our new set of recipes from ADEENA SUSSMAN. I just can't help myself. I keep on cooking from this cookbook, and here it is plated up. Wishing you Shabbat Shalom from my bite to your bite. Bye.